your tribal chief had a contract signing tonight, but I wanted to welcome you to the YouTube channel. So YouTube world and YouTube tribe, acknowledge me by sticking with this video after that whole Roman Reigns bit. Yeah, I'm bringing you this somewhat awkward and questionable, and I will tell you what I mean by questionable episode of Smackdown. Not for 2 hours, not a lot went on, but some stuff was good, some stuff was bad. We're gonna start it off with, they had like a recap of stuff, of different things, like with Brock Lesnar winning the Chamber, Ronda Rousey winning her match, and then we got to the first segment of the night, which was the Ronda Rousey promo, as I call it. Ronda basically came out and she was getting interviewed by Michael Cole. And Michael Cole, was just interviewing her about, after being gone for so long, why did she decide to come back? And like she said, I think she said something about she wanted to be like an inspiration to her daughter, because her mother was like the first woman to do a lot of things, and she wanted to be that awesome mom for her daughter. So that's why she came back. And Michael Cole ran down her accomplishment, being the first woman to be inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame, to be the first UFC Women's Champion. He basically was saying she was naming her first, just like she did her mom. And then he ran down what happened at Elimination Chamber, how she pretty much handled Sonya Deville, but they were trying to say that Ronda got dominated by Charlotte, which I didn't feel like she did, but the way how they sold the video package, it looked like Charlotte did, but I don't feel like Charlotte really dominated, but that's what they're saying. This would bring out Charlotte Flair, which was awkward. That was like one of the awkward moments where after the video package, Michael Cole didn't say nothing, didn't ask how did she feel about saying that, or none of that. She just stood in the ring, was just sitting there mad, with a mad face. And then all of a sudden, Charlotte's music hit. So I'm just like, was there something that should have been said? I feel like there should have been talking, and then she got interrupted by Charlotte's music. But Charlotte Flair basically came and ran down, saying that I think Ronda did say she wanted to be the first one to make Charlotte tap or something like that. And that's what when Charlotte came down and started running Ronda down, she said she was going to be the first woman to make Ronda tap. And that she was going basically, she said she took it easy on her at the String Rules, but she's not going to do so at WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is going to be stupendous. And Sonya Deville will come out and attack her, but Sonya they went after her leg, which I guess her leg was. They do numerous battles in the UFC and stuff. It had to be that leg had to be surgically repaired and stuff like that. So they started going after it, both her and Charlotte. But she would fend off Sonya Deville. Charlotte would just awkwardly fade away, and then we will find out that a little bit after that she basically got yelled at by Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce informed her that the higher ups basically had made, at the request of Ronda, and because of what she did, Sonya Deville will have to face Ronda in a one-on-one next week on Friday Night Smackdown. We will get to the first match of the night, which was Los Lotharios versus Kofi Kingston and Big E once again. Big E got Big E's birthday. I guess it's apparently coming up, so Kofi got him an ATV. This is a match that we've seen, I guess, multiple times over the last couple of Smackdowns. And this kind of was just okay, where is this building towards? They try to put it in there, I guess this is supposed to be built to see who could become the next number one contenders after the Viking Raiders. But it was awkward. They talked about Kofi. They talked about a segment with Kofi. I guess they had a little documentary about Kofi, Big E, and Bobby Lashley being the Black WWE champions of the modern era. and they basically was talking about that and mentioning that Biggie and Kofi are former world champions, but then talk about them take it like then say, oh, well, they trying to go for the tag team title, but that's not why would two former world champions want to go after when they want to go after the anyway. Biggie and them won the match. The next match will be at Zion Lee, which was probably the best thing for me, even though it wasn't like the greatest of matches. It was just finally we got to see a debut from Zion Lee, so it kind of like gave me that okay. It might have been a great long match with Natalia, but she basically it was a long match. It was a debut match, I mean to say, for Zion Lee. I'm happy that Zion Lee got her time, but I just wish she would have had this time. But I'm just glad they're using her. Yeah, but Zion Lee would win the match with us. Like just instead of doing like I thought she was gonna have like a cool finisher. She just did like she charged up and just did a spinning heel kick and basically pinned Natalia. The Usos would have like an interview backstage, but they would get attacked by the Viking Raiders demanding their match for the tag titles. Sami Zayn will have a promo basically celebrating his win as the Intercontinental Champion, but only get interrupted by Johnny Knoxville. And basically Johnny Knoxville challenging him to a match, which is presumably going to be for WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. Johnny would taunt Sami Zayn, Sami wondered why he was even here, but he said, "But you crashed my premiere party, so I'm just decided to crash yours." And then he tried to challenge him. He even caught saying that he don't have the balls and all that type of stuff. Sammy would get mad and beat up on Johnny Knoxville to where he gave him two Haluna kicks and then had to take him to the back, where he would end up getting interrupted when he was talking to Adam Pearce by Ricochet, and Ricochet won the challenge for the Intercontinental Championship, to which Adam Pearce thought that was a good idea, so he made that match for next week as well, where it would be Sami Zayn versus Ricochet for the Intercontinental Championship. So then we'll get in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, this was like one of the most useless matches on a card. Like I haven't seen, we had a lot of useless matches that just didn't make any sense, but apparently this match was Sasha Banks versus Santi Blackheart, and I say this was useless because it was like, what was the point of this match? Like it was like a match. Then it was a short match. I think it was only like what, maybe 5 minutes. It was like 3 to 5 minutes, and Sasha Banks would get the win. And then Naomi also came out for no apparent reason, but apparently it was to announce that her and Naomi was going to basically be a tag team to go challenge for the women's tag team championship. And I'm just like, so this whole match what was the point? And I'll explain this, and I'm gonna go over just real super quick. I'm in the chat with other people who talk about wrestling, and I was saying in the chat that they should have just made Sansi. They should have just had reunited the feud between Sansi and Sasha, made it built an actually good story around it, to where they could fight at WrestleMania, and whoever won would get to challenge whoever wins between Ronda and Charlotte. Or they could have moved Rhea over to SmackDown like they just did Big E, and had her feud with Sasha like that, and whoever, basically the same thing. Whoever wins, at WrestleMania gets to fight Charlotte or Ronda or whoever comes out as champion. But yet you decided to put two former SmackDown Women's Champions in a feud or on the path for a title, for two titles that really means nothing at this point. We had the next match was Drew McIntyre versus it was supposed to be Baron Corbin, but it ended up being Mr. Moss. And Mr. Moss, he was supposed to be Baron Corbin. Baron chickened out, saying that his match between him and Drew should be a WrestleMania match. So he ended up replacing himself, who was supposed to be replacing himself. It was supposed to be originally Rick Moss and Drew, but then he replaced Moss. Then he replaced them again. So Drew, all this to say, Drew ended up winning the match and been dragging out this feud even longer than I wanted to. Final thing of the night was the contract signed between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I will say this: I like Paul's little stint when they came out. Paul Heyman, he told the crowd to acknowledge him, and then Paul Heyman got to going. And I won't go through everything he said, but it was when he was just basically giving this awesome promo, and he said, and that, he was talking to the crowd, he said, and that is what they call a cliffhanger, and went, snapped his fingers, and it actually went to break. I was like, and I was just, for some reason, it was just cool to me that his promo actually led into the commercial breaks to where he could say, and that's what they call a cliffhanger, and he snapped his fingers, and right on point when he snapped his fingers, the camera, the feed went off to the commercials. So then we come back, Brock Lesnar come out, do his thing. They signed the contract, basically made threats. And he tried to have the security guards in the ring beat Brock Lesnar up, which Brock Lesnar destroyed. But again, they still promote that Brock Lesnar. One of the things they did say was Brock Lesnar is not going to be title for title or a unification match at WrestleMania, because Brock is not going to make it to WrestleMania as the WWE champion, because he's going to have to defend the title at Madison Square Garden against someone, and they pretty sure he's not going to win that match. But that's all I got. This episode of Smackdown gets, I give it a 7 because it wasn't a total bad card, or it wasn't a total bad show. It was just 7 out of 10 because it had a couple of things where it just was pointless, and I don't know why they're doing it, but that's just my opinion. You let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this past episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And if you enjoyed this episode, Friday Night Smackdown, and you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed this review, then you hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed this video so much you want to support the channel, all you gotta do is hit that like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button. And also, like I said, leave a comment down below what you thought of this episode, and hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. But I got more content on the way, so peace out.